Josh Duggar's release date has been pushed back again. Josh Duggar, the former star of 19 Kids and Counting, continues to serve his prison sentence following his conviction on charges related to child pornography. His name once brought attention due to his family's fame through the Duggar family's long-running TLC show. Now, he remains a controversial figure due to his criminal actions and the public fallout. In a recent update from the Federal Bureau of Prisons, it has been confirmed that Josh Duggar's release date has once again been pushed back. This marks another delay in his anticipated release, drawing attention from those who have followed his legal battles closely. This direct script outlines the facts of this development, the official reasons, and its broader implications, all without any added dramatic or narrative scene construction. Josh Duggar was sentenced in May 2022 to over 12 years in federal prison after being found guilty on 2 counts of receiving and possessing child bad abuse material. The court found that Duggar downloaded and stored illicit content on a work computer he had access to at a car lot he owned in Arkansas. Originally held at the Washington County Detention Center after his conviction, Duggar was later transferred to FCI Seewald, a low-security federal correctional institution in Texas, known for housing bad offenders and having facilities for treatment programs. According to initial projections based on standard federal sentencing guidelines, Duggar was not expected to serve his full term. The projected release date factored in potential reductions for good behavior, which can result in inmates serving approximately 85% of their total sentence. However, that estimation has now been officially revised. Duggar's earliest estimated release date was previously listed as August 12, 2032. As of June 2025, the Bureau of Prisons has updated that date to a later point, though the specific details of the new revised date were not disclosed to the public immediately. Official records now reflect a delay, confirming that Duggar will spend additional time behind bars. The delay in his release has led to speculation, though officials have cited general procedural reasons. According to corrections protocol, a prisoner's release date may change due to a variety of factors, including but not limited to disciplinary infractions, failure to participate in mandatory programs, or administrative recalculations of time credits. Federal inmates can earn up to 54 days of GCT per year of their sentence. However, this credit can be revoked if an inmate violates prison rules, fails to participate in required programming, or is involved in any form of misconduct. There has been no confirmation that Duggar has lost such credits, but delays in release often follow such patterns. Administrative adjustment. In some cases, the Bureau of Prisons reevaluates sentences and recalculates time served due to policy changes or internal audits. While such changes are routine, they can impact estimated release dates. Officials did not state whether Duggar's delay resulted from this kind of recalculation. Lack of participation in programs. Inmates are often required to participate in rehabilitation or education programs to maintain eligibility for early release incentives. If Duggar declined or failed to complete such a program, his projected release may have been extended. Disciplinary infractions. There have been unverified reports in past months suggesting Duggar may have been written up for violating prison rules. However, the Federal Bureau of Prisons does not typically release detailed records about individual inmates unless there is a high-level incident or lawsuit. Josh Duggar remains incarcerated at FCI Seewald. He is classified as a low-security inmate, meaning he is not housed with high-risk prisoners. Seewald offers access to mental health and educational services, though it has also made headlines in the past due to overcrowding and health safety complaints. According to official prison records, Duggar has not been transferred since his arrival. Reports from former inmates and family members suggest that he has maintained a relatively quiet presence while incarcerated, although such claims remain anecdotal in nature. His wife, Anna Duggar, has reportedly remained supportive, though she has kept a low profile in recent years. no recent public statements have been made by her regarding his incarceration or the delay in his release. The Duggar family has remained largely silent on Josh's extended prison timeline. In past years, the family has issued carefully worded statements expressing support for Anna and their grandchildren while acknowledging Josh's criminal conduct. Siblings like Jill Duggar Dillard and Jinger Vuolo have distanced themselves from Josh and even from the larger Duggar family structure. They have each addressed family dysfunction and toxic environments in memoirs and interviews, but rarely speak about Josh directly. Despite the family's attempt to shift focus toward healing and individual growth, public interest in Josh Duggar's status remains high. The release date adjustment has only reignited speculation about his behavior in prison and what his future may look like upon release. From a legal standpoint, the change in Duggar's release date falls well within the federal correction system's standard operations. Inmates often have their estimated release dates adjusted due to numerous internal factors, which are not always made public. Duggar's legal team has not commented on the extension, and there are no known appeals pending at this time. His prior attempts to overturn his conviction have failed. In 2023, a U.S. appeals court upheld the guilty verdict, stating that there was sufficient evidence to affirm the original ruling. That decision shut down what many believed was his last realistic legal pathway to early release outside of time credit reductions. The Federal Bureau of Prisons maintains its own policies regarding inmate conduct, programming, and sentence reductions. The First Step Act allows eligible inmates to earn time credits through program participation, which can shorten their sentences. However, the law is complex, and not all inmates qualify. Josh Duggar's eligibility for these credits depends on various factors, including the type of offense and risk level assessment. Given that he was convicted of crimes involving minors, it is possible that he was either ineligible for certain programs or restricted in his access to early release benefits. Additionally, the BOP does not routinely explain why a release date is extended unless prompted by legal action, investigative journalism, or official congressional oversight. Media coverage of Duggar's case remains a regular occurrence, especially in outlets that follow reality television and celebrity legal issues. The recent delay in his release date was picked up by several media platforms, but most reports cite BOP records without additional commentary. Some outlets have used the opportunity to revisit the larger conversation about accountability, celebrity culture, and how legal systems handle individuals with high-profile backgrounds. Others focus on the continuing story of the Duggar family as a whole, tracking how various members are evolving after their show was canceled and their public image transformed. As of now, there is no indication that Josh Duggar will be released before 2032. His earliest possible release could still shift again, depending on his conduct, participation in programs, or additional administrative reviews. Once released, Duggar will be subject to a 20-year supervised release period. During this time, he will have to register as a bad offender, adhere to strict behavioral guidelines, and likely be barred from unsupervised contact with minors, including his own children, unless explicitly allowed by the court. He will also face limitations on employment and travel. The reintegration process for a convicted sex offender is complex and highly monitored. Given his public profile, Duggar may experience challenges resuming a normal life post-incarceration. Josh Duggar's journey through the federal prison system continues, and the latest update about his delayed release reinforces the uncertainty that often surrounds such high-profile cases. While the Bureau of Prisons has not given a public explanation for the change, the adjustment fits within common correctional procedures related to inmate conduct and sentence recalculations. With the Duggar family remaining mostly quiet and the media continuing to cover his case with interest, public curiosity is unlikely to wane. What remains clear is that Josh Duggar's path to any form of personal or public redemption will be long and closely observed, whether or not he ever seeks to re-enter the public eye. Jill Duggar gives rare shout-out to estranged dad Jim Bob, praises him for her exciting and adventurous childhood. Jill Duggar Dillard, a former star of the hit reality series 19 Kids and Counting, has recently made headlines for a surprising reason. In a heartfelt and rare public statement, she acknowledged her father, Jim Bob Duggar, in a way that caught fans and observers off guard. Despite the well-documented estrangement between Jill and her parents, especially her father, she took a moment to reflect positively on aspects of her childhood that she credits him for, particularly the adventurous and exciting experiences she had while growing up. This rare gesture comes at a time when many of the Duggar family's internal dynamics have come under scrutiny, especially following multiple controversies and public revelations. Jill's decision to highlight the good parts of her upbringing, even amidst personal distance, shows a complex and mature perspective. The following direct and neutral script delves into Jill's words, reflections, background context, and the broader significance of this public shout-out, without dramatization or emotional framing. In a social media post that quickly drew attention, Jill Duggar Dillard made the following remarks, paraphrased in direct narrative form to maintain neutrality. "I'm grateful for the memories and adventures we had growing up. We traveled to so many places, had fun learning experiences, and were encouraged to try new things. I know a lot has changed, and we don't always see eye to eye now, but I appreciate the effort that was made to give us an exciting and adventurous childhood." This acknowledgement, although brief, stood out for its tone, notably more conciliatory and reflective than what many might have expected, given the recent years of tension between Jill and the Duggar family leadership, particularly her father. Jim Bob Duggar has long been the patriarch of the Duggar household, known for his strict religious beliefs and his central role in building the family's public persona through reality television. The family's show initially presented an image of unity, discipline, and deep-rooted faith. However, over time, fissures began to appear. Jill was one of the first Duggar children to publicly break away from the core family system. After marrying Derek Dillard, the couple distanced themselves from the family's reality TV presence, and later revealed that they had taken issue with how finances and control were managed behind the scenes. Their departure from Counting On was not just a career decision, it reflected broader differences in values, autonomy, and direction. Jill and Derek opened up about these issues in interviews and social media posts, emphasizing that they were prioritizing their own mental health, independence, and family boundaries. Given this history, Jill's decision to publicly recognize her father's role in creating a childhood full of adventure and learning is noteworthy. It suggests a level of healing, or at least a willingness to separate the past from the present. Rather than focusing solely on the challenging aspects of her upbringing, which she has not shied away from discussing in the past, Jill's shout-out marks a moment of gratitude for what she believes were positive experiences orchestrated or facilitated by Jim Bob. Her words did not erase past grievances, nor did they signal a full reconciliation. Instead, they offered a balanced perspective, acknowledging the complexity of her background while choosing to spotlight something good. In reflecting on her exciting and adventurous childhood, Jill likely referenced a number of activities and experiences the Duggar children were exposed to over the years. These included traveling for family missions and TV appearances. The Duggar children visited numerous states and countries, often in the context of mission trips or family documentaries. Outdoor activities and homeschooling adventures. The family's homeschooling curriculum included practical life skills and hands-on experiences, such as gardening, animal care, and construction projects. Public speaking and events. From a young age, the Duggar children were involved in public speaking events, which gave them exposure to the broader world. Unique family traditions. The Duggars often celebrated milestones with creativity, whether through themed parties or large group outings. For someone like Jill, who later went on to write a memoir and participate in interviews where she discussed both positive and negative experiences, this post appears to reaffirm her appreciation for some of those opportunities, even if they were interwoven with complexities. Public reaction to Jill's post. Fans, observers, and followers of Duggar-related news had mixed reactions to Jill's post. Some expressed surprise and optimism, suggesting this could be the first sign of a softening rift between Jill and her father. Others viewed it more cautiously, interpreting it as a gesture of maturity and grace rather than a signal of reconciliation. What's clear, however, is that the post marked a departure from the tone of previous statements that had been more critical or defensive regarding the family's internal operations. Importantly, Jill did not elaborate further or attempt to sugarcoat the strained relationship. She simply allowed space for both truths to exist, the distance now and the appreciation then. Contextualizing the estrangement. It's important to understand the depth of Jill's estrangement from her father in order to grasp why this shout-out matters. Jill and Derek have long indicated that their departure from the family's structure was difficult and came with emotional fallout. Some key points that contributed to the divide included disputes over financial compensation from the family's media appearances, concerns over autonomy in raising their children and making personal decisions, differing beliefs about religion, authority, and family roles. These were not superficial disagreements, but deep-seated differences that eventually led to a physical and emotional separation. Jill even spoke about undergoing therapy to process the emotional toll of breaking away from a highly controlled environment. Jill's evolving public voice. Over the years, Jill has become increasingly open in how she communicates with the public. Initially cautious, she has since written a memoir, participated in interviews, and taken part in docuseries that shed light on the Duggar family's private life. What's notable is how her tone has evolved, from defensive or even reactive at times, to more reflective and grounded. This shout-out to Jim Bob can be seen as an extension of that evolution. It demonstrates a capacity to hold space for gratitude, even when relationships remain complicated. Jim Bob Duggar's perspective. No public response. As of now, Jim Bob Duggar has not publicly responded to Jill's comments. He typically remains reserved about direct statements involving his children, especially those who have chosen to live separately from the family's values or structure. Nevertheless, within the Duggar fan community, any sign of dialogue, even indirect, between Jim Bob and Jill is interpreted with interest. This small gesture from Jill may or may not lead to deeper conversations, but it certainly marks a moment of openness. The role of faith in forgiveness and reflection. Faith plays a central role in the Duggar family's worldview, and even Jill, despite making changes to how she practices, continues to express belief in spiritual growth and reflection. Her willingness to give credit to her father might be rooted in this faith-based framework, one that emphasizes forgiveness, gratitude, and grace. That doesn't mean Jill is overlooking the past or minimizing harm. Instead, it may reflect her internal process of healing, whereby recognizing the good does not invalidate the hard truths, but allows for balance. Conclusion. A complex but honest reflection. Jill Duggar Dillard's rare shout-out to her father Jim Bob is not a dramatic reconciliation, nor is it a sudden change of heart. It is a sincere moment of acknowledgement, one that separates the positive memories of her childhood from the strained realities of her current relationship with her family. In choosing to highlight the exciting and adventurous experiences of her youth, Jill offers a more complete picture of her life, one that includes gratitude alongside independence. The post serves as a reminder that family relationships, especially those lived out in the public eye, are rarely black and white. Jill's journey continues to evolve, and this message may be just one more step in a long and complex path toward healing, understanding, and perhaps, in time, peace.